everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Without Context podcast. As usual, I am Decavolty, joined by SharkyHat. Today, we have a special guest. We've got SushiFerret.
Hi. I know nothing about this person. This is somebody that Deca brought in, like I brought in our guest last week. So I'm interested in learning, but I'll let Deca lead things here.
SushiFerret is a DJ in VRC. As you can see, she has her avatar out in her... That's your personal world, right?
Yeah, homeworld.
Hell, yeah. Homeworld, that's the word. Verbiage.
Continuing the season's trend of VTubers or semi-VTubers.
So yeah, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is SushiFerret. I go by Maya. I am a trans girl and a virtual reality DJ, which is a very weird thing that a lot of people get confused about whenever I tell them about that.
Trans girl thing or the DJ thing?
Both.
Yeah, Deca, the reason we brought in is the whole, VR Chat DJ thing. And I'm curious to see how that all goes, because, I have a friend that's a DJ, goes to, the clubs and everything, and like does shows and everything, and I just never, for some reason, never clicked about that being in like VR as a thing that you can do. So,
yeah, there's a whole entire thing here.
The whole
like
scene.
whole different world.
So I went to her birthday celebration where she had there was a bunch of DJs who were playing, and that thing, like, whoa. I'm gonna preface went with air quotes here because VRC, but
Yeah,
still,
right.
The sentiment is still there. I saw her in this form and saw all of her VRC friends, and they were all doing their thing, and then a lot of them got on stage, started performing. It was interesting.
It's like saying that I went to a Travis Scott concert when I was sitting on Fortnite. So
Right.
So, how is the music scene in VR Chat? Surely you've gone to concerts before.
Yeah.
So how does it compare in your mind?
There's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. There's similarities in the sense that there's still this sort of like common etiquette there.
Mhm.
Like basic stuff like, don't run up and interrupt the DJ usually unless it's like that kind of show, or don't go AFK in front of the DJ, which I guess the IRL equivalent of that would be like texting on your phone while you're in like the front row, which like would be sort of a little rude, I feel like.
Yeah.
Just general common courtesy stuff, that's the same. Other than that, there's a lot of stuff that's different. And when I say different, okay, I have to preface, I'm talking about like just compared to the greater IRL like EDM scene specifically, like, which is a very big, broad category.
It's a big broad category, but it's also a very niche category still.
Yeah. Things different are like, one is there's not really any sense of like monetization or like pressure from a manager or stuff like that. Like everyone here just sort of DJs for free just because it's a cool thing and we like doing it. There's a lot of IRL DJs here too that came here because they didn't really like the pressure of the IRL scene being like, oh, you have to play this specific music that everyone will like. You can't play the music you specifically want. And you have to fight a million people for this venue. And you got to go through all this booking stuff and blah, 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 blah. Whereas here, it's really just play whatever you want, whenever you want, and there will be an audience for it. And you don't have to go through any sort of manager. You don't have to go through like an exclusive venue or things like that. You just sort of do it.
It's more for the art form than it is for capitalism.
Yeah.
it takes a lot of the logistics out of things, and we haven't reached the we haven't gotten the bar into hell yet where people on VR chat are like, I am a manager for VR musicians. So
Yeah, it's like there's like a similar, I guess, like framework, but it's applied very differently. Like there are specific venues, like very large notable venues on here, at least by our standards, where you go through like a booking process to play there, or you have certain like ways of getting people in from the IRL scene too, but it doesn't have like the this is my job sort of thing. It does, if that makes sense.
it does. It takes me back, Deca, to the VTubing episode where it's like, oh, they have like the manager set up, or some like groups have like a manager set up where a lot of people can just do it.
To be fair, VTubing, they do that absolutely for capitalism.
It is for capitalism, yes, but it's the same thing is like the people who aren't part of like the organizations or something. It's like, yeah, I can just do this. So it's like this VR chat DJing is like, yeah, I just want to do this, and you can go through the steps to get the, I guess, the higher tier locations. It's like, this is the like big place I want to play, but you can also do it in your own worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah, like there are definitely major clubs like Ghost Club or Shelter, which are like two very big ones that they want to curate like a level of quality. Like, oh, I know I'm going to get a really good show or this specific type of show when I go to this venue, and so of course they have to take that into consideration. However, if you just want to play, you can just sort of do it. Like if I want to play tonight, I go on Twitter and I just say, hey, I'm throwing a pop-up. Join on me tonight, 10 p.m. And people show up, and then I'll just play, and it'll be fun.
Excellent.
It's very like garage band vibes I'm sensing.
Yeah.
It's like the
we were having that discussion in the car a little bit when we were talking about this. When we were originally pitching this, was like, it's like a very underground scene actually in VRC. Even the big venues that curate a certain quality are still like in the underground, as it were.
Yeah, like there are certain venues on here where if you called them underground to a regular here, they'd be like, no. Like, what are you talking about? That's like the biggest venue here. But if you bring up that venue to anyone in the like if you bring it up to someone who's very familiar in the IRL scene, they'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Even if you bring it up to people who are like in IRL underground spaces, they'll still probably be like, what are you talking about?
It's a very specific niche. It's very popular in VRC, but VRC is still like a microcosm of like the space.
Yeah.
Definitely the feeling. Like it's definitely the feeling of like you have to be in the know to know where the good places are.
Yeah, that's a big thing when it comes to getting people in here is like, if you want to come into VR chat and specifically go to the music scene and specifically go to the places that you really, really want, you gotta know where to go first. There's no like, it's hard to find like a jumping off point. The easiest way would be to find like the most major publicly accessible clubs and go to one of those, and then make friends that will help get you to those other smaller places.
The networking carries over.
It's just networking, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Maya maybe, or Sushi maybe, one way or the other you can confirm or deny this. Like networking is arguably easier in the VR scene versus like IRL.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like because to join someone else's like event, right? The way it works is a lot of these events are held in what we call friends plus instances, meaning that the world itself that's being held in, to get in there, you need to have someone who is already in there on your friends list and available to join on. So if you open up VR Chat right now and go through like the public world listing, you won't really find any of these. But if I open up my menu right now and I look at my socials, I can see a long list of all the worlds that my friends are at, and I can find an event from there.
The deep web. It's like the Tor browser. It's like you have to know the address. You have to have a friend on the inside.
Yeah. It's like okay.
Oh, sorry. One really easy way to find these events too is also honestly just through Twitter. There is actually a really well-known and commonly used Twitter called VR Chat Party Hub. It is run by this guy, Captain Duck, who is a very beloved member of the community, who he literally just categorizes and curates a list of every single event going on that night and just posts it on Twitter and how to join. So if you want to find anything, you just follow the VR Chat Party Hub and you'll find at least some details on it.
Shout out to the people who do the work like that. Like
all the clerical work.
Nobody's asking for it, but somebody's like, this person's just going to do it every day because somebody's going to be looking for it.
Yeah, like I cannot stress enough how much we love this man. Just 'cause he provides probably one of the most essential like frameworks in the entire scene, and he just does it.
It's his thing.
It's all those unnoted authors on Wikipedia keeping those articles going and up to date.
Just like that.
Exactly what that is. Someone's waiting for someone to die so they can put was and everything on Wikipedia.
The control F ready to go.
Oh god.
But you've been DJing for like a year at this point? A little over a year?
No. I've only been DJing for like, I want to say like 3 or 4 months now.
Really?
Yeah.
It feels like it's been a year.
It does.
This has been a weird year, to be fair.
This year has stretched on for a while, but also like the way it's come up so naturally for you, it just feels like it's just been like it's always been there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I had some music experience before this, and I've also been lucky enough to just have a great group of friends and talented people that I'm surrounded by that are willing to help me with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was going to ask. You said you had some experience with music. What is that outside of all of this? Was it experience in a band? Was it anything from like a school, like marching band, anything like that?
Outside of DJing, I play piano.
Nice.
I started playing piano when I was very young and found out I was like, I guess like a prodigy or something. I was just really good at playing stuff by ear. Like yeah, like in high school music, I remember there would be songs where everyone else, it would take them like the next few months to learn this song that we're going to be playing live, and I'd just learn it by ear and play it within like a day. And if they made any adjustments, like, oh yeah, no, you're making this adjustment, I can just do that by ear too. And so I was like, people were simultaneously, I feel like, impressed and also annoyed by me in that class.
Yeah.
It's like
oh great, it's this bitch.
Yeah, it's a gifted kid, but for band.
It's like me when I did strings in middle school, so I played violin for about 2 years in middle school. And it was all the thing. It's cool. Like, hey, we got 3 months to learn this before we're gonna be playing it for an audience. And it was just like, oh fuck, we are actually like part of a band, aren't we? Like that realization of this isn't just a thing we do after school. This is actually something we are like striving to perform. And I was like, oh no, I gotta play this for people.
I played music for the vast majority. I've played music for the vast majority of my life, actually. I started in middle school. I played the saxophone. I continued playing the saxophone all through high school, except for my senior year where I went to college, but that's whatever. And yeah, I'm much in the same as Sushi. Is like I've always been able to adjust on the fly, adjust by ear. I always make the joke that my ears are the only organ on my body that fully works to capacity.
I still have my violin in the garage thinking about it. Should probably see if that needs any repairs or anything.
Probably.
Yeah,
I tried violin, could not do it. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're like so good at piano. Like other instruments must come easy to you, right?" I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing with anything else.
It's like, see,
It doesn't translate that way.
A piano, I have to hit like a key and it makes a ding. A violin is like, I have to hold this string in a certain position and then pull this thing across it.
Yeah, no, like any instrument I'm playing, it has to be like monkey brain. Like I smack it and it makes a specific noise, and it'll keep making that noise no matter how much I just smack it. that is how I view piano in my head.
Is that how you took to DJing so well?
Yeah, I just smack my controller and it makes noise. That's really what it is.
I'm gonna say that to my friend Matt. He plays drums, and I'm like, hey, just playing drums is just like, dude, does monkey tendency take over when you play these?
Just how to piss off every drummer ever.
But
man,
yeah, you're DJing and you're the music for it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not probably all like handcrafted. It's definitely probably stuff that is out there, right?
Yeah,
like existing songs.
Yeah, no, I don't produce. I just mix. Producing is like a whole nother beast to me.
Yeah, I've looked at stuff like the music makers, like, you know, Fruity Loop Studio and all that, and it's just like I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So
the dog in the dog in the lab coat.
Yeah, it's just the dog in the lab coat. I have no idea what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Is what genre in particular? I mean, is it mostly like electronic and dance and everything, or I guess it could be any of the 20 genres that probably has included in it.
Yeah, there's a lot. So the genre that
it's like what is?
Sorry, you go.
It's like, what is drum and bass? It's like looking at all these like different like dance styles, and it's like I don't know what half of these are.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started.
It's like what is the difference between house and dance? It's like all these different things.
Different
like,
beat boops.
Yeah, it's like, is it just the order? Is it a tempo? Is it
different bass lines?
Probably. But yeah, what genres do you usually play with your sets and everything?
So the genre that I got started out with, and the one that I feel like a lot of people know me for, is called Witch House. It is definitely a more niche genre. Best way I can explain it is take house music and then give it like a trap style beat with very heavy synths and distorted vocals, overall occult theme vibe, and just give it to a bunch of like goth kids in a graveyard somewhere, and there you go, Witch House.
I know some of those terms. It's like take some house, and so it's like, I know that exists. I don't know what that entails, but I know that exists.
I also play a lot of like, I play a lot of techno, a lot of industrial stuff. Usually a lot of like doom 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 stuff like that.
Can confirm.
I've done a little bit of drum and bass. I'm trying to branch out and try more styles.
Gotta get that hard bass in. Embrace the Russian.
Yeah, like
the Russian hard bass.
My favorite music is any music that will just make you go dun 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 dun.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything that you can put over the video of the one Russian guy dancing with the 2 vodka bottles in his hands.
yeah, there you go.
Just the guy like doing the crazy like leg motions and everything like that. Like they're dancing on like a warehouse like loading dock or something. I just think of that video whenever I think of like techno music. I'm like, can I overlay it to this and have this video still make sense to me?
Yeah, I usually do stuff like that, and then every now and then I'll get this like weird urge to do something completely off-brand and just alienate my core audience. Like, there's one day I was doing a pop-up and I just decided to play Daria Core, which a lot of people don't even know what that is, and it is like very, very vastly different from what I normally play. And so I think a lot of people came to that set expecting me to play like techno or witch house, and are like, "What the hell is this?"
From
Amazing.
the name of it, I can only imagine it's like a beat with like Daria ad libs. Like,
Best way I can describe it is like, imagine if like, okay, Daria Core is like, imagine if you took like Nightcore and it was made in 2022 by like a bunch of gay teenagers on the internet.
so take Nightcore. Take Nightcore and make it's Nightcore 2.
Yeah, it's Nightcore 2.
They did it. If Nightcore's so good, why isn't there a Nightcore 2?
Well, here it is. You got Nightcore 2, baby. Let's go. And it is just as controversial.
Oh no.
People keep asking if we could. They should be asking if we should.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, which is something else we talked about in the car, is that like there are no bad apples because they are very quickly shown the door.
Yeah, like, so there's personal beef, yeah? Like, oh, this person's kind of like, this person's a prick, this person's whatever.
Sure.
But when it comes to, like, actually awful people, like predators or racist people, homophobic people, once you get found out, like, you get thrown out pretty fast from what I've seen.
Yeah. You had the anecdote where you were like eating dinner and your phone blew up, and next thing you know, someone's kicked out of the scene, and before you even finished your dinner.
Yeah, no, like every now and then something will pop up and people will be like, "Hey, this person is like a huge creep. Like, get them out. Do not let them into any of your events. Don't let them go anywhere. Tell everyone about this. Just do not let them in."
Yeah, it's like a lot of places should have more zero tolerance policy when it comes to stuff like that. What's the quote that I saw? It was something I saw on Twitter. It was like, if you're at a rally and you allow Nazis at it, you're at a Nazi rally. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what
Pretty
it's
much.
for. If you're allowing them to stay, then it's become that. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
so it's like, if you have these creeps in this community and you allow them to be there, you are now associated with those creeps.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
you, Hatalia fandom.
So it's just like, yeah, I think a lot more places do need to just own up to it. You know, it's like, hey, you know who these kind of people are. Why aren't you getting them out? I don't need some, answer like some corporate speak. It's like, it's a yes or no. Are they going in or out? Like, I think more places do need to just adopt that. Like, hey, this is about you. You can't be here anymore. So
Yeah. No, like it's honestly kind of endearing to see, because I have seen people who like have their own personal beef, right? Like that's, not the horrible, awful bigotry stuff, but like they dislike each other for their own reasons.
Yeah.
But the moment like an actually like awful person enters the room, they will like temporarily truce and go after this one person.
My favorite trope.
Common enemy.
The common enemy.
I've seen people who like, yeah, like I've seen people who like, they may annoy me, right? But I know they're a good person at the end of the day because I've seen them standing outside talking to a person I've never seen before. And all I overhear is like, yeah, I don't care who you are. The people who I trust very well said you made them feel uncomfortable. If people are uncomfortable in my club, I don't want you here. You have to get out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's how it
I
should
respect that. I respect that.
That's how it should be. Because the thing is, like, I think with VR chat, it's probably easier to do that because the law of the land outside of here is, capital. So it's like, oh, if
Right.
It starts fucking with my money, then I'll have to do something. But with VR chat, it's like, I lose nothing kicking you out. I gain a reputation of being somebody who deals with creeps like you. Like, it's just one of those things. It's like, hey,
This is a safe space for my
I'm
friends.
showing people that I will handle things like this.
Mhm.
You know? And that's always
like
always a good, image to put up there. Where if it's like, hey, we did this whole set and this guy was here and, we told the moderators or something about it and they didn't do anything, then it's like, I don't think I trust that place as much anymore.
For sure.
So
yeah.
So it's definitely should see more of that being adopted just in every online space,
Yeah, I'm like the way I always describe it is like, we do this for free. We literally do not have to put up with any of this. We lose nothing by just kicking someone out.
And again, it's like you gain that reputation of somebody who gets those people out of their, spaces for other people to come in and feel safer about it.
Yeah.
So it's always good.
Yeah. I am a proponent of like no strikes, get out.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
It's also kind of important too because VR chat, you're not seeing that person, you're seeing an avatar that could change, or they leave that account, they leave that name, they make a new name and stuff like that. So it can be hard at times, I guess, to police that, but when the information's known and handled, I think it paints a good picture of just reacting when the knowledge is there.
Yeah, like if, let's say, like someone just basically gets shadow banned from the community, right? Like no one lets them in, and let's say they make a new account and they try and get around that. Eventually, at some point, in my experience dealing with these people, they will make themselves known again.
Yeah,
because they can't shut up.
They can't. The thing is, everybody is going to have a pattern. They're going to talk a certain way. They're going to type a certain way. Vocabulary choice, stuff like that. It's like growing up online. When I was doing the role playing on chat rooms or MySpace back in the day, I could instantly tell when somebody was another person because of words that only that person used. It's like, I've never seen anybody else use this, term for this word and everything. And it was like, it always be one of those things. It's like, I'm seeing the things. So I know that that's this person. So I'm not going to continue with this because that person and me don't have a good history,
Right.
Everybody has a tell that will eventually, give them up. And to be fair, if you have time to just keep making accounts to try to get around shadow banning, you're probably not doing a lot with your life anyway. So...
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, that's another thing. Is like, okay, you can only keep this up for so long. It takes me like 2 seconds to hit the block button.
I hit a button.
Or the kick button. And you got to go and make a whole new account and find me again and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it takes me 2 seconds. You can keep wasting your life trying to get at me. Eventually, you will give up.
It's like that video clip of Dr. Robotnik. It's like, you fools, I have 70 alternative accounts. And I'm like, that's not the flex you think it is, though, because you took the time to make those. So...
Are they egg fucker 1, egg fucker 2, egg fucker...
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh god, I love those videos.
So good.
Oh man. So I guess I would like to ask what started you on this path, if it's only been like 3 or 4 months.
So I guess going back, I started VR chat technically over the 2020 pandemic, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I didn't really find a hook. Like, I got in with my new headset because of like, I have been cramped inside for so long. I need to socialize. I need to talk with people in a way that's not just Discord. And I came on, I'm like, okay, like, this is all right. Like, had some drinks with some strangers, did some like shit posting in random public lobbies, and I was like, all right, this is neat, but like, there's nothing really keeping me here. Like, if I logged off today, it would not matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I found this video by this person, Straz, who now works for VR Chat, that was talking about the music scene here. And I was like, wait, what? There's a music scene? Excuse me? And so me and some of the few friends that I did have on the platform, we were like, oh, well, we gotta go check it out. Let's go. And so I like speed ran the music scene. I started around like sometime in the afternoon, where I went to a bunch of European clubs because time zone difference. And then I went to a few major North American ones during the night. And then I stayed up until 7 in the morning to go to the Japanese events. And
I remember that arrow.
yeah, after that point, I was like, I'm in. I can't look back.
It's like, I'm gonna hit the world club scene in 9 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. I remember being like, it's 8 in the morning. I'm standing in a Japanese venue. I cannot understand a word anyone else is saying. And I am on the verge of death too, because I also had been drinking that night. So that's coming down as well. And I'm just standing there like just barely alive. I'm like, I'm having the time of my life. This is great.
Once again, demonstrating the wonderful properties of video games during this pandemic. Sure, you're stuck inside,
Yeah.
but you literally went to a club in Japan. So
Yeah, and after a while, you know, going through those like different clubs, I made a few friends, and then they introduced me to their friends, and then I found like a nice group to hang with. That was like my regular, like, you know, my regular squad. We became really, really good friends. I started getting around more, and it got to this point where getting into this scene and into VR chat in general is sort of like a nice ego death, in the sense that like, wow, there are so many incredibly talented people here that just put me to shame, and they do all this amazing stuff, and they just help keep this like amazing, beautiful scene alive. I kind of want to like why am I not doing anything? Like, it makes you want to be, I should have a skill. I should like start 3D modeling, or I should start DJing, or I should start dancing, or just something. Like, I wanted to give back in a way to this community that means so much to me. And I thought about DJing, but I had a lot of stage fright, until one day my friend sort of like cyberbullied me into it.
and
Like,
it's just become
I
DJ.
yeah, like I had the DJ software that one of my friends gave me, and I'd been like messing with it a bit, but I'd never like done a full set or anything. And there was one night, it was a slow night, not much going on, and we wanted to keep partying, and we were like, oh, we'll just throw a pop-up. And they're like, well, to do a pop-up, we need a DJ. Hey, Sushi, you want to finally do that thing? And I was like, no, of course not. No, that's terrifying. And they're like, okay, if we can get 20 people to show up, you have to DJ. And I was like, all right, fine, because then there's going to be expectations. And then 30 people showed up, and I was like, all right, fine.
It twisted my arm.
And now I'm here, and I'm having the time of my life.
I've definitely noticed that like you were always the extrovert in the friend groups, as far as, you know, IRL and whatnot. But like, this jumped that up, and like, it feels like your personal quality of life has gone way up, just in what I know about you.
Yeah, definitely. I've had this conversation with friends before who have never been in VR chat even once, but they hear me talk about it, and they're like, I have literally never seen you this happy before. Like, this is the happiest I've ever seen you in your life, and I've known you for like a decade.
Yeah,
It's great.
like,
It's like,
I'm the same. I feel the same way.
it's great because like it just shows like, hey, you know, took this awful time in this pandemic and turned it into something positive. And it's like with us, like, hey, the pandemic, we just started a podcast, and now the both of us have converged.
Yeah, see?
Hell yeah.
There's some silver lining. And I can definitely say confidently, I am in the just healthiest like spot I've ever been in my entire life. Would not give this up for the world.
That's great.
I'm so happy you found something that you enjoy.
So the VR chat, are you like with the full like hand things in the headset right now, or?
Oh yeah, I'm in full body right now. Actually, can't really. Hold on, give me a second. Let me grab my camera here. But,
And are you like looking at us like on Discord screen, like in VR chat? Is that what's?
yeah, so I have the main camera up here, and then I also have a sort of like floating window of my Discord, like in the same spot. Let's see.
VR chat's great.
You can move
here.
the
Let me
camera around where she wants.
Let me lock it here.
The future of entertainment.
Yeah. See. Bye.
Excellent.
What is
Yeah. No.
what is your IRL space comparatively?
I play. Okay. I literally play in a walk-in closet.
That's
Oh,
fair.
so it's the same place.
Yeah, no, like I don't have that much room, but you know, I can dance around, I can like socialize and stuff like that. It's just
Like-
enough for me.
And is this a I don't recognize this. Is this a custom avatar that you have right now, or?
So this is a avatar base that I bought off of Booth. A lot of people get their bases off there, and then I just edited the textures a little bit.
Okay.
So I have like a million different variations of like this specific avatar if you want to see them.
I'm open to it. I was just like, I don't recognize this character from anything, so I wonder if this is original or not.
It's
There are a lot of
original
OCs.
to the
To the
original to
booth.
the creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have this version as well. Hold on a second.
It was like us with Kato, like showing off the models and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night
Kato.
dark mode.
Dark mode.
Dark mode.
Dark mode sushi.
I got like casual,
Nice.
formal.
As someone who's been on VR chat, like all you're doing here is like pressing different buttons in the menu.
Yeah.
hmm It's fascinating how much you can customize just in just a brief moment, and
Yeah. It's crazy.
quite frankly, what avatars, the things that even like baseline avatars come with.
Oh yeah, there's a lot you can do. So all of the content in VR chat, like I'm pretty sure just like 99.9% of it is all just user created. If you can 3D model it and pop it into Unity, you can make it into an avatar or a world or whatever.
It's my next big project. I've taught myself the Adobe suite. I've taught myself a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take on Unity. I'm gonna make myself the VTube model.
Do it,
So-
do it.
Do it. This is all of us holding Sharky accountable. He's got the perfect mascot for it.
The people,
It's-
funnily enough, last night we had the conversation. People actually took time to like look at my avatar that I use for everything, and they're like, I just realized that is not hair. That is the shark's teeth on that. And I was like, yeah, because I'm fucking bald. Why would my avatar have hair? Like, I've looked at all of the artwork, and I was like, only like 2 of like the drawings I've gotten for this actually have hair visible.
Literally, because then in my head, I've literally never seen Sharky with like blonde hair, which is the closest
Yeah.
thing I could approximate to the teeth.
Yeah. So
Yeah, right.
it was just like, I thought that was hair, but it's the teeth, and I was like, yeah, it's been like that for years. Like,
Literally, where have you been? But like, I'm gonna put this to you again. is when you do the VTuber thing, it shouldn't be this mouth that talks. It should be the shark head that talks.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I would love to see that.
It's going to be a complete human body just with a shark's head. Like,
Yeah, and the shark's head should do the talking.
Yeah.
And then when you need a
One of
chibi
these
model,
days.
it can be like when you need a chibi model, it could be like one of those bass that you press the button and it starts talking.
There's there are the pictures. There's like the animated gifs going around for a bunch of VTubers. That's like them doing like the little like wobble. It's like the little chibi models that do the wobbling, and I'm like, I need to find somebody to draw one for me.
I know people.
We know a lot of people. We've had some of them on the show.
Yes.
So we're this season is us slowly putting together a super team. We got the DJ, we got the VTubers, we got a creative writer. It's like we're slowly putting the team together for an.
We're slowly making a game dev studio.
we got the game dev. We had Rabbit on here, so.
Oh, Rabbit! I love Rabbit.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of like inner circle friends this season.
I'm slowly bringing in the Texas community that I like into this podcast.
We're slowly assembling a super team.
But yeah, it's like I said, I've only been to one show, mostly because like I don't have the stuff, and I almost get like FOMO not having like the headset and stuff, because I have to like program my avatar to like hit the gritty instead of like actually being able to do it myself.
Right.
Hotkey the gritty. That statement makes me hurt. Like,
God damn.
I hotkeyed the gritty.
Then I just took psychic damage.
You said it yourself. So when is your next show?
Apparently tonight. I literally, as I was getting set up, a friend DM'd me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to play a pop-up tonight?" And I was like, "What time?" Like 5 hours? I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that."
Well, there you go. If you somehow are able to reach into the past, you can show up at SushiFerret's pop-up.
Yeah. These episodes usually go up on a Friday, so if there's anything that you do have scheduled for like the weekend or something, that now would be a time to like, shout that out, because at least the viewers might be able to drop in and see. Don't know how much of our viewer base actually has VR chat, and that'd be an interesting thing to see down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, it does seem like you do shows pretty often.
Yeah, I mean, like sporadically.
Sporadically,
like,
okay.
Well,
yeah, like actually, like I like doing pop-ups and like open decks and stuff. The actual like planned out ones aren't as often, just because those usually take a bit more effort to put into.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if it's just like, hey, I got some free time tonight, let's do this.
Yeah, I can freestyle something really quick.
No, it's like that's kind of the mindset with the pop-ups, right? You're like, I got nothing going on tonight. Hey, do you want to, do this?
Yeah.
For a few hours in this channel. It's like, yeah, sure, I got nothing going on.
Yeah, some people will just message me. They're like, "Are you free for like an hour to spin something just randomly?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
You're like, yeah, I can fit that in. It's like,
and that's her, the extrovert talking.
Work at the own pace.
Yeah.
It's good practice.
It is. Yeah, I think that's the other thing too, is that there's a really difficult what's the word, road to like pro, or a road to like expertise, because you don't have a lot of opportunities in traditional musicianship to like grow, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier. It's much more. I don't want to say anonymous, because you're gonna have a signature style at some point.
Yeah.
But it's less weight off of you to do it like in VRC versus like in person. If you're spinning a deck in person, if I was spinning a deck in person, it would be a nightmare. But I could probably manage it. on VRC.
Yeah, like I always describe as VR chat for just learning skills like this. It's sort of like speed running that skill because you just have so many chances to learn and improve that it's hard to find IRL.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to DJ IRL, like okay, I can DJ at home, right? But that can only take me so far. I don't have experience DJing in front of people then, or I don't have like anyone like actively telling me like how I can improve. And if I want to play in front of a crowd like in person, I'm like, all right, do I know any friends that are throwing a house party that like have space? Like,
yeah,
and that doesn't happen like all the time. So I'm like, and even then, like, let's say your friends like, yeah, you can DJ at my house party. Not always like the best crowd to learn from. Like,
let's say it feels like the hostility of a real life crowd would be a lot more than a VR chat if things are not going great.
Yeah. Whereas here, like, not only can you DJ in front of a crowd like any day of the week, which is just great practice, there are also so many other like DJs and producers on here that if you are struggling with anything, you are surrounded by people who can help you. Like, not even just like other like VR DJs, like people who are deep in the IRL scene as well that really, really know their stuff.
And we know that with a VR chat, people can have whatever avatar that they can manage to get. What is the avatar that stuck out the most in one of the sets that you DJ'd in?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me think.
Because I can imagine it's like, you're up there doing it and you're seeing, some people's like custom avatars and then you're seeing, like a Shrek, because somebody could probably have like a Shrek avatar. And it definitely feels like, am I DJing for memes right now? Is that what this feels like?
So like most people that you'll see at raves and just music events on here, they'll usually be dressed like similar to that occasion, like tech wear, or like, they'll have like lights coming off their avatar, something like that, something to match that vibe. But then every now and then you do get like some weird ones. Like one of my friends, I believe I first met this guy because he was at a rave and his avatar was this like bag of Wonder Bread that would like blink around like a snake and like hop through the air.
That's incredible.
I was like,
curse.
I'm looking at the ground. I was like, bag of Wonder Bread, like just going across the dance floor. I was like, I gotta know this guy. I gotta say hi to this guy right now.
It'd be much funnier if they're like not Caucasian in real life.
Just bread. Just bread.
I don't know their ethnicity in real life, but I don't think they're white.
Okay, that's hilarious actually.
I've also seen, what is it? There's a really good friend of mine who does staff for a lot of these events, like security, and he will commonly wear this avatar that is just like a swarm of bees in like the shape of a tall man in a trench coat.
That is horrific to envision.
The head of the bee swarm will like move too, like when he talks.
That's a D&D enemy waiting to happen.
Like, imagine you're at a show, right, and you're misbehaving, and security comes over.
A bunch of bees in a trench coat.
It's
bees in a trench
in the
coat.
shape of like a man in a trench coat, and you're like, what?
It's
so good. I love it.
That gives me Hat Man energy.
What's the thing? It's like
He is the Hat Man. His avatar is literally like a shadowy Hat Man, and it just has different shaders. One of those is the bee one.
Oh my god!
I just imagine it's the Bart and the Homer, where Bart's looking up and Homer's like staring down at him, like on the couch, just like the menacing like stare down, and Bart's just like looking over his shoulder at him, and it's just like you turn around and it's like, oh, it's three bees in a trench coat. Okay.
Oh man,
Yes.
that's That's
I-
nightmare fuel. I love
I
it.
think that like sums up VR chat. It's like you can have the actual Hatman like shadow figure of horror, and then it's like I'm gonna hit him with the paint. I'm gonna hit him with the skin that's just bees. So,
There's some people like, okay, people do some crazy stuff with shaders, especially. There's one avatar that I see around every now and then. A few people have this one where it's like this like non-Euclidean cube. I can't describe it. It's just like this cube with this weird like otherworldly like psychedelic pattern to it. And you can stick your head inside and look around, and it's like this infinite world inside of this avatar.
it is the non-Euclidean cube.
Yeah, like you'll be walking around, like sometimes I'll just be at an event and someone be in one of those avatars, and I'll accidentally like walk into them. I'm like, oh, whoa, where am I? Hold on.
Yeah, it's just
And I
a
pop out, and I'm like, dude, you gotta watch where you step. I just went to another world.
yeah, it's just like for the people who don't know the joke of non-Euclidean geometry. It's like let's say I have like a 4-foot cube. If I look inside that cube, I see an 8-foot hallway. Like
Yeah,
and it's
like-
like if I pass through that 8-foot hallway, I come out the other end of the 4-foot cube. It's just
Yeah,
it's
like,
dimensions.
it's like
it's,
that.
it's dimensions that don't make sense. And I remember watching like a game dev video of somebody was trying to make a game based with that geometry and everything, and he's like, this is,
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
I've
like,
seen those.
he was like, this is actually hard as shit. Like I don't. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this work, and I'm coding it. Like,
Oh no.
but yeah, I can imagine that also probably prevents you from wanting to come back if the bee man is the one that throws you out.
That can't throw you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like Benadryl hat shadow man is security for a lot of events, and I love that. He is actually a very close friend of mine. I love him so much.
Hell yeah.
Excellent.
Hi Terrells, if you're watching this.
It's gonna be
Love
shared.
you.
It's gonna be shared on the Facebook and the Twitter. So
Hell yeah. Any last minute things you want to shout out? Keeping in mind it's on Friday and not today.
yeah, this video's coming up on Friday. So
Not in particular. If you want to see what I'm up to anytime, I have a Twitter at SushiFerret VR, all one word. At SushiFerret was taken by someone who only has one tweet and like never. I don't think they're active still. And I was like, damn it! Now I got to add the VR to the end of my name.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure Elon Musk is on that right now, right as we speak.
what's the thing? It's like originally it was like $20 for the check mark, and then Stephen King called him an idiot, and then he dropped it down to $8. And now stuff's coming out after the election. He might not even do the money for the checkbox. He just might put Twitter behind a paywall. And I'm like, if you do that, it makes it so much easier for me to quit. Like,
Yeah.
Man, honestly.
if I have to pay to use this hell site, I'm not going to anymore.
But yeah. So we are gonna put your stuff in the description below.
Yeah,
So
we throw all the
people-
links down in the description alongside, everything else that is relevant. Credits our flow code so people know where to find us. So
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think this has been a pretty enlightening episode, even as somebody who's toyed with VRC a little bit.
I didn't even know an hour went by. That this has gone by really fast for me.
Yeah, no,
I the thing is, like,
honestly,
I know about VR chat. Like everybody, a lot of people who are online and like watching YouTube videos will probably come across VR chat at some point in their life.
Yeah.
But it's like with the VTubing episode, I didn't know there was this much depth to it. It's like learning about all the like inner workings of like VTubing, where it's like, they have the rigging and the animation and like all the other stuff. It's like that was really interesting. And now it's like, hey, VR chat has this whole music scene to it.
subculture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that is always fascinating to me. The internet has just let so many things like this just blossom, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I could honestly, I feel like I've barely even scratched the surface. I could go on about the really deep, I guess, lore of like the music scene here for hours.
The origin of VR chat music clubs.
It is something else. There
In
is
this-
so much here.
In this 15-part video series, I will explain.
Oh, don't worry, we have you in the Rolodex. You'll be back.
Yeah,
This is a threat.
Sweet.
this is
is
a
a threat.
Hell yeah.
this is a threat. You will be back on this podcast.
Yeah. So
It's like jury
As we-
duty. You'll be summoned at some point.
you saw me at some point.
Jury duty. Oh no.
We have X on one of Sharky's friends just every now and again.
It's
Hey,
like
I don't have a guest. You want to
it's
talk
like
wrestling?
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Deca-
sure.
It's just, hey Deca, did you get a guess? No, I didn't get one either. Hey, actually, you want to talk about wrestling for this week? So just keep pulling him in as like, hey, we'll talk about this week in wrestling, but also it's kind of like, this is the filler until we can get our guest roster back up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, definitely. If you ever want me to just blabber on about VR chat stuff, let me know. I'm always down.
Hell
Excellent.
yeah.
I like guests that are eager to come back for a second showing.
Yeah, that's been the podcast. I'm Deca, joined by SharkyHat and SushiFerret. SushiFerret's information will be in the description below. So you are more than welcome to follow her on Twitter at your own peril.
That's usually how things go. It's like, you can follow if you dare.
Yeah, just get ready.
Some housekeeping stuff before we conclude the episode. As always, we have the Without Context podcast channel. We also have our Dummies and D20s channel, which is our tabletop RPG channel. That one still currently a week out, I think, from a new episode. Deca, I think you are getting. Do you have an episode this Monday or?
I do not.
So
we are going to
I think there's
be
a brief hiatus coming for
both of them.
the campaign that's currently showing up on this channel, just because of the holiday season and whatnot.
Yeah.
Stuff happens around this time of year where it gets really hard to get everybody together for D&D.
Mm.
But yeah, we also have the Spotify playlist, which can be found on the flow code. Link to that is in the description, as it always is. Follow us on Twitter. We do have one for this channel as well as the Dummies and D20s. Those will also be down there. If the Twitter one isn't, I know it's on the actual YouTube page. If you follow that link, you'll be able to find that. But I think I also am looking into how we can get onto different podcast providers, stuff like Stitcher and all that. Just kind of expanding the reach. I know a lot of people don't want to use Spotify. They have other podcasts like services. So we're looking into how to spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's always good to expand.
This has been the episode. And as always, we will see you on the next one.
Yep.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye bye.